Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night. Wherever you are, welcome. Heart of Christ Ministry. Man, I tell you, it has been a bit of a whirlwind since the last time we talked. I know there were different plans to do different things, but all of a sudden, everything sort of became differently, which is a lot of times what happens when it comes to universal timing and God's timing and things of the sort. And so, there was a lot of time for introspection, a lot of time to really kind of get to the bottom of why things would be as they turned out. But ultimately, the connection with spirit, the connection to the God self within me is what kind of had things unfold as they have. And there's the main reason why I am here today. So I'm happy to have you here. Before we get started and into it, let's get to our situations here, guys. As always, right? So I hadn't been off the air for about 4 or 5 months or something like that. If you have anything you want to say, any type of feedback, any type of support or whatever it is, please write to us at ShaunG04@gmail.com and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. That is a guarantee. So I'm appreciative of your kind words, of your thoughts, of your support, whatever it is that you may find that you want to share with Heart of Christ Ministry. So with that also being said, if today's message benefits you in a way that you feel moved, right, from your heart to give, please, by all means, sow a seed. VENMO, Heart of Christ Ministry, PayPal, ShaunG04@gmail.com. Zelle is the exact same way. Cash App, if you decide to give and the outlet to give is not there, we can get into that. Just send me a message and we'll take care of that right away. But thank you in advance. At the end of the day, it's only money, right? I'm saying that now, but I tell you. So thank you in advance for that. Now let's get into today's message. All right. Today's message, Heart of Christ Ministry 2022. I think this is the very first message of 2022, possibly. Your greatest desire you may not be aware of at the moment. Okay. Your greatest desire. My cat's just screamed. Your greatest desire you may not be aware of at the moment. And I can tell you right off the bat, I know where the initial attention goes when you begin to think about what it is that you feel is your greatest desire. But I'm going to tell you, there's only really one true desire. And I've been here countless times. And I'm going to tell you, it always comes back to this desire that I'm going to share with you today. But before we get to that point, I want to share some insight with you and kind of fill you in on how I got to this point today and how this message was reiterated in my own life, right? So the last few months, I just sort of dove into being an actor and at the end of last year, what I really took part in was developing my consciousness to the point where I could be as successful as I chose to be in that area, in that arena. And January came along and things just took off, right? I mean, when I say they took off like we were just going through all the jobs that I've done thus far up to this point. And I'm telling you, it's endless, right? It's absolutely endless. So when this started to go, I was on cloud 9. I was thrilled. I was excited. I was like, yeah, this is what it's all about. Yep. And it was fun, everything, from job to job. And then what transpired, I want to say probably about midway through, I stopped feeling excitement, right? Like I was happy about the opportunities I was getting, but I stopped feeling excitement. I stopped feeling like that essence, that joy that I get when I connect to the divine. I stopped feeling that. And I'm like, well, maybe it's just, a phase. But then in actuality, it didn't change, right? It didn't change. So I'm just thinking to myself, okay, like I'm booking this stuff. And this is stuff that I never have booked as an actor before. It was those type of projects that you'll get the opportunity to see later on here this year, hopefully, but maybe, a little bit later than that. Anyway, it was the exact things that I knew that I wanted within myself, right? And the truth of the matter was that it didn't bring the feelings that I thought it was going to bring, right? Now, truly grateful, truly thankful, truly just satisfied with how things transpired. But I'm gonna be honest with you, the Disney World type feeling you get when you see Mickey Mouse for the first time wasn't what I was feeling as all this success continued to transpire, right? So stay with me. It's important because we're led to believe that if we just get to that place, if we just get to this place, if we just get to this thing, right? What will happen? We'll arrive. Happiness will abound, right? The world will finally set itself on a point where everything feels right. Well, guess what? Didn't happen, right? Didn't happen. So being the minister that I am, I had to dive into it. And like I said in the description, this unfolded on a number of occasions in the past, but my awareness was ready to take it in this time around. And so I dove into it. And that's where it leads us to number one, right? Your greatest desire is not found in anything outside of yourself, right? It's not found in anything external. And you know what helped me, what actually thrusted me to get to this point was that I was in a position to where I was set to make a good bit of money. And then it was like ripped out from underneath me. And so the initial disappointment, I'm just going to be honest with you, I was upset. The initial idea of being upset was there. But then, what I've learned is whenever an emotion comes up, I've got to go deeper because it's not about the event. It's about something that's going on inside of myself. Right. And so what I did is I went within to figure out what was going on. Right. And so come to find out, it wasn't about that at all. It was more about me trying to place my happiness, right? It was more about me trying to place my happiness into something outside of me, albeit money, albeit, successful actor, albeit happy this, albeit, brand new this or brand new that. You understand what I mean? External things, right? We find that we place our just basically everything into them and they bring like a sparkler, that you do on 4th of July. They bring a sparkle bit of joy and then it simmers. And then you realize, wait a minute, this is not the thing that I was really desiring. This is kind of just a product of the thing. Now stay with me, right? Because I can tell you everything you're desiring on the external right now is a desire because it's meant to create the greatest desire you may not be aware of. Okay. I promise you that. I promise you. Stay with me. So your greatest desire is not found in anything outside of yourself. Get rid of that right now. Just let it go. Right. Just don't even be in a position to think that a house is going to bring you lasting happiness or joy or calm or whatever it is. Don't even think that a new car or a certain amount of money is none of this stuff, right? It's not what we really want. It's not the physical stuff we want. It's something deeper. And in order to find it, we've got to go deeper. And I've been there and I'm ready to show you. Here we go. Almost there. Number 2. Okay. Your greatest desire is not found in another individual, right? So I knew people all the time who grew up thinking that if they could just be with this person, they could just have access to this individual, they could just do this for this, or they have this individual this way, that they would find the Holy Grail, right? But guess what? All of a sudden, you start dating that person and you realize, wait a minute, you can't make me happy, or you can't make me, feel good or be at peace. Like, you realize it's an empty promise, right? And then all of a sudden you're confused as to why it's not doing what you thought it could do. And it just kind of ties into number one. Like, you can't find, there's no desire in anything outside of yourself that's going to be sustainable. There just isn't, right? And until we come to that realization and understand the truth of that, the universe is going to have us repeating that lesson over and over and over and over again, right? That job that you've been wanting is not going to bring you, sustainable. When I say sustainable happiness, I mean like long-term, where all of a sudden a couple months pass and then you feel like, oh, this ain't it, right? Nothing outside of us. God has set this world up in a way that would be impossible for any human being to have. That, I thought my computer was doing something. That would be impossible, right? God has set it up so differently and so beneficial for us that you'll never find joy in a job, in a car, in a spouse, in anything that is in the outside reality. The outside reality is just a reflection of what? Our consciousness, our awareness of what we have within, right? So when these things start to all of a sudden get finicky and start to act up, and like your new car's breaking down and the pipes in your new house is like, bursting and stuff like that, it's because that's what happens when we become attached to anything external, people included, right? Your greatest desire is not found in another individual. It's not found in anything external. Learn that, keep that, embrace it. I promise you, you're going to be so much better off for it, right? Which brings me to number 3. Dun, dun, dun. That was the horror sound. Your greatest desire is found in the peace that lies within yourself. Okay? Your greatest desire is found in the peace that lies within yourself. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, how is it my greatest desire is found in peace? Well, let me tell you something. Okay? For a year and a half, this ministry was geared towards all things money, abundance, prosperity, all these, all this amazing stuff. Now, if you go way back, I did a video on what we call financial peace, right? And this video, which is not one of the most watched at all because it's not like a sexy topic, but it's probably the most important video for anybody wanting to have any type of money. So anyway, it basically came down to the understanding it don't matter how much you have. If you don't have peace around it, you're going to be miserable, right? You're going to be miserable. You see so many individuals manifest so much money, but yet and still what happens? They wind up losing it, or they wind up building loads and loads of anxiety, right? And I'm not saying that you got to be against having a bunch, because that's normal. That's a natural desire. But the truth of the matter is, you want to get a lot, but you also want to have the peace that you already have within yourself. You want to have that around everything. And why is that? Because your life is going to reflect it. Your situation is going to reflect it, right? And tell me something. When you have a lot and you're not losing your mind, or whether or not it's you're going to lose that, or something's going to happen to it, what are you experiencing? You're experiencing peace. You're experiencing peace around it. So why not just experience peace all the time? why not understand that your greatest desire is to experience peace all the time, right? That brand new car, that new house, right? What's the feeling we're going for? Peace, right? The house will be pretty, the car will be pretty for a few months, and then, it's just a house, just a car. And then if you find you're putting your happiness or your peace, your desire for peace in that thing, it's not going to work, right? You're going to start actually having issues, right? Because you put something outside of you as your fulfillment, as opposed to the understanding that the greatest desire, it lies within. And when it lies within, we can develop it. And once we develop it, it reflects on the outside, right? So let's keep going with this. So getting back to my situation, right? The whole idea of being a success was about being able to feel good, right? And being able to feel good is about being able to feel at peace, right? And being able to feel at peace is about being able to feel content. And being able to feel content is about being completely loving and accepting of the moment. In that moment, right? That's all there is, right? So instead of me going through all those pegs, I could have got right to the destination that I wanted to get to by just choosing to be content, peaceful, and acceptant of the moment. And then as I'm at peace, everything flows to me, but it's not my source anymore. And that's the objective that we really want to come across more so than anything else. It's not your source, right? Before, I can tell you, it was my source, right? Even for a short period of time, like, because anytime something gets taken away and you have an emotional reaction, you were attached to that thing, right? It's not a judgment. It's just, that's the reality of it, right? But if somebody takes it away and you can still be at peace, guess what? You're good. Your source comes from within, which is where it needs to come from, right? So this shows, I've been teaching this stuff for such a long time, yet I was still caught up in the mist temporarily of creating not misunderstanding what my true greatest desire was, right? So it's a perfect lesson. I learned it. I processed everything that I need to process. And now I understand peace is by far the most important thing, right? Because with peace comes freedom. With freedom comes happiness, right? Happiness, joy. That's all we ever want, right? That's all we ever want. We've been led to believe and think that we want other things. But here's the thing. Those things are meant to be enjoyed. Those things are meant to be embraced, used, and then when it's time, you let them go, not stay attached to them, right? But your greatest desire is found in the peace that lies within yourself. And every single thing I bet that you ever choose to desire, you ever choose to have, I can promise you, you're desiring it because in the grand scheme of things, you want peace, right? You want money. You want more money. Why? Because you want more peace. Well, guess what? Skip the money, have the peace within, and then the money shows up, right? You want a certain job. Why? Because you think it'll give you more peace, right? Happiness and freedom than the current job you have. Well, guess what? Start feeling that first, right? And just don't worry about happiness and freedom. Just feel peace first. True peace within. Start with meditation. Start with silent time. Close your eyes. Focus on your breathing. There's so many ways to do this. But until we do this, we're unable to manifest things in a healthy capacity, right? And when I say healthy, I mean vibrationally healthy, in the sense of stuff coming to where it doesn't take us on a whirlwind. It doesn't take us, and throw us around emotionally and have us all torn up in an emotional turmoil, because we've decided to put, our happiness, our joy, our peace into that thing, right? So this is something really, really to think about. But I promise you, if you do the work and you take the time to really look at what your desires are, you'll always come back to peace. I promise you, you'll always come back to peace. All right. With that being said, thank you guys so much for joining us. Greatly appreciate you. This video will be available on Facebook as well as YouTube, so you can come back and watch it. Take notes if you hadn't taken notes already. But truly, truly magnificent. I'm so happy I got the chance to share this message because it was brewing. And, what's great is it teaches me, or I learn from it as much as, you do when I'm teaching it, which is pretty awesome. So with that being said, if you have any questions, any feedback, any comments, any type of support, ShaunG04@gmail.com. That's open. Write to us. Express yourself. We'd love to hear from you, see what you got going. Okay. And if you feel like this message has benefited you, has made you think more about what your true desires are, please feel free to donate a seed of any choice, as long as it comes from the heart, as long as you feel good about it. Venmo, Heart of Christ Ministry, PayPal, ShaunG04@gmail.com. Zelle is ShaunG04@gmail.com. And if there's any other tongue-tied, any other ways you'd like to sow a seed, please, once again, email us and then we'll figure that out. But other than that, that wraps today's message. Once again, find your peace within. And I promise you, everything flows from that point on. Everything aligns itself, because peace is the ultimate oneness, the ultimate alignedness with the God in you, the all that is, the benevolent universe. Find peace first. Desire peace first. And if it's not clicking, work through it until you get to that point and understand that peace is your greatest desire. With that being said, guys, I am out of here. Take care. We'll talk soon.
Every dream begins with a vision that sees everything before anyone else ever can. A vision that ignites the endless power to make all your dreams come true.